What the hell is that? Is that a butthole in the finish? Did I need to do some wiping? Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing good. I am doing just great, and right now I have the Chinese version of the Randy Rhoads polka dot guitar. Now, I'm sure as a teen, a lot of you guys used to have the old door posters, the Ozzy Osbourne Randy Rhoads tribute poster, where Ozzy is basically holding Randy up in the air, and he has, this guitar. Well, not this guitar, but he's got his version of this guitar in his hands. Always loved that poster, and I think I still have it. I'm not sure. I kept a lot of stuff when I was a teenager and put it all in storage, so I'm not too sure if I still have that or not. But this version of the guitar is pretty much crap. Sorry, but it is. I have the other version of this that is made by Firefly, which is a night and day difference between how this one looks and feels compared to the Firefly. This one here has got finish flaws in it. It's got, weird stuff going on in the finish. Like right over here, there's some waviness where there's some chips in the wood, and they just clear coat it over instead of trying to fill it. Around the edges over here where the neck fits into the body, it's just, I gotta bring you in and show it to you so you can see what I'm talking about. The nut is not centered in the fretboard the way it's supposed to be. There is a little bit of a ledge over here between the neck and the fretboard, and this needs to go this way a little bit to even the strings on both sides. Right now there's more room on this side than there is on this side of the neck between the low and the high E and the edge of the fretboard. So I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to show you a few things that I found wrong with this guitar, which a lot of it is cosmetic. Some of it is I can't say well, maybe I could say mechanical, because the bridge is docked. Okay, it's set all the way down to the body. But one of the things is that they got the springs so goddamn tight on the back of here that you can't hardly push on the trim to get it to, you got to really push on it. It's not right. Also, the quality of this trim is not all that great. I'm sure there is probably going to be, looks like pot metal type material in the back of it for a block and where the springs are locking into. But let me get you down over here and I can show you some of the issues other than the one that I showed in the beginning of this video. So right over here you can see that there is some chipping that's in the wood that they painted and then clear coated over. Didn't even bother trying to fix it. Over here there is some scratching going on the finish next to the switch. You got some little bits of shit that's in the paint, and then of course the one spot that I showed over here, which is kind of a, let me put some light on it. It's a blister in the clear coat. All right, and then you got over here where you look at the neck, you kind of see this is all clear coat that's coming up, and it also is doing it on that side. Now, one of the things as far as quality goes is these fret markers are real shitty, and they did the same thing that I've done before and use some CA glue, and this one really has it. Use some CA glue with some of the dust from the rosewood and kind of fill that in, and then go ahead and do your radius sanding before you put your frets on the nut. So right over here you can kind of see that there is a nice little, well, ledge over here between the headstock and the fretboard. This nut needs to go that way a little bit in order to even up the strings on the fretboard itself. Not so much going on with the headstock, although they could have rounded this off or made it sharper. It seems like they couldn't make up their mind what they wanted to do with it, either make it round or make it sharp. So when this was sanded flat over here, this part on the top is rounded, going into a little bit of a point instead of being rounded like the top of the headstock is. Now, another thing with this guitar too that makes a big difference between the Firefly is the shape of the body is not the same. So you're looking at difference in the way that the points come out over here on each side of the body. And I just noticed another little ding right over there. Now the back of it, well, you know, it's pretty much same old shit. You know, it still has the same as far as crap and stuff like that goes in the finish. You know, there's a dent in the neck right over here, some scratches inside the finish over here. Now this guitar, I got it and it's been sitting. I haven't really did too much to it. This is like the first time that I've ever actually like did a little bit of a tuning on it and then trying to play it. So here you can see that there are some bubbles in the clear right over here. That's not a scrape mark or anything. Those are bubbles in the clear. Routing is kind of shitty right over here. You can kind of see where there's discoloration in the white where basically the clear has been chipped. So they either forced the cover plate on here and you know, I've got some piss poor paintwork over here as well around the edges. This screw is probably for the strap lock. It's probably what's keeping the neck from coming off. Who knows? But yeah, and then this output jack is really friggin' tight as far as trying to put a plug inside of it. Again, over here, you have some more bubbling in the finish. You can kind of see that or not. All that. Now, that could be sanded out. And if it's too much inside of the clear, what you can do is sand this out a little bit more and then re-clear it and that'll go away. But that's kind of like showing you where they sprayed real heavy with the clear and it gathered in that area. So when they did their wet sanding over here, you can also feel that there is a run right over here on the end of this. There's a little bit of a run there in the paint. So that's telling me, yep, there was a buildup of paint over here. It cured differently. Had some bubbles left over inside the finish when it cured, and they left it there. Now, I don't know like a lot of history about the Randy Rhoads tribute or the Randy Rhoads Flying V guitar. I just wanted one, and I didn't care at what cost, you know, it was going to come out to, but at least, you know, make it a better quality of a guitar. Standard trem, you know, not a big deal. You've got block saddles instead of the bent metal. One thing that's kind of funny too is they try to make these look like the Mazio pickups, but all right, everything is chrome on here, but you got gold set screws, you know, for the pole pieces, using a Allen key to, you know, adjust them. And then on top of this too, it's like, wow, look at how far down that pickup is. And even that one there too. I'm fretting it at the last fret, and these pickups are like way, way down. But they don't look like they're wax potted at all. I don't see any residue inside there of wax. But I am going to take this thing apart and maybe sand it down and clear it, or try to fix some of the finish flaws on it. Because I'm going to get rid of this thing. I don't need it. I have the other one. And yeah, now this fretboard here is a lot more square than the Firefly. The inlays are not as nice as the Firefly. The frets are not as nice as the Firefly is too. It seems like the Firefly has kind of come a long way and kind of like built their name up somewhat. Now, also clear coat chipping, clear coat chipping, clear coat chipping. That's not a fret marker. That is like where the clear got hit. Yeah, it's just too much cracks in the finish where the frets are. You can see that. That's not the tang. That is a crack, and it's starting over here too. But just overall shitty job. I know. It's like, this is a Chinese guitar. You get what you pay for, and the quality isn't there and stuff. But you would think that you would have a little bit better of something. You know what I mean? These tuners, I mean, just unraveling the low E string, I could feel grinding in these tuners. That's not right. It's just terrible. Although it does hold, or has held a tune, and I kind of roughly tuned it. I didn't really go right on the mark with it. I don't even know if the damn thing is intonated or not properly, because I didn't really check it. Again, another thing where people do make the mistake is you don't have to arch the saddles on the bridge. You want to keep the saddles straight, but they are in steps going up and in steps going down from E to E, but you don't have to tilt them. That just kind of especially if you're using the whammy bar and you end up pushing it down, it loosens up the string. You don't know if that string is going to kind of go off to the side or not of the saddle, and then click right back into place. Yeah, that's not really what it's supposed to be like. So I'm going to go and get some power tools over here and start unscrewing some screws. Kind of see what makes this thing tick, what kind of crap they put inside of here. And I'm kind of expecting possibly a lot of strip screws when I go ahead and put some of this back together again. Now, I probably wouldn't refinish this as far as stripping this down and then repainting it. Number one is I don't have a bunch of these polka dot stickers, and I never really counted to see how many polka dots were on this guitar. So let's get in here. Yep. Oh, check this out. Nice. See how the wirings just go in with the the wiring is in with the trim over here. So that's kind of nice, right? So yeah, we got, looks like a pot metal type. And here they got the V-way, which really doesn't make sense, because if you're gonna have here straight and then straight, then yeah, the middle one serves a purpose. But when you V this out, the middle one doesn't really serve too much of a purpose, because you're putting the tension on these two here by angling them. But in order for these guys to keep tension on all strings, they tighten this down pretty much close to the body to be able to have it really tight and make sure this center one doesn't come loose. But they also grounded this out on one of the hooks that's on the claw that hooks onto the spring to keep the spring in place. So that's not right. All right, let's see what's behind door number 2. Surprisingly, they used all the same screws. Figured there'd be a variances in length. All right, so we got the control cavity here. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, shitty soldering job. A lot of overhanging wires. Let me get you down in here so I can show you what's going on. All right, so you got some wires that are over here. Here's a ground wire that's just hanging over the edge. There's another one over here on this side that's just hanging over the edge over there. Got some green caps. CF, which I don't know what quality those are. You see a lot of these type of, I want to say like RCA cables, because there's one wire that's got 2 wires inside, and the ground is like a braided, or either around it or wrapped around the center wire itself. So yeah, we got some shitty soldering job over here, but yeah, okay. So they glued in, either they broke it over here, and they either glued in a piece, because I do see remnants of glue at the top, and it's like, okay, well, we drilled the hole, but it's not going to work because, well, it's lower. All right, so let's get into door number 3. again. All right, see what this three-way switch consists of. Okay, well, there might have been a change in design or something over here, so let's kind of get down over and look at things. So here it's flat. You can see they ended up painting it with the polka dots, and you know that's where the three-way switch is, kind of tight, you know, tight fit. Wires or terminals aren't touching, but they're pretty damn close to the sidewalls of that cutout. And you got your output jack right over here. So they got your power, well, not power, but they got your grounds and your hots coming from the pots over to the switch, and then from the switch out to the output jack. You know, they got enough wire over here for the ground. They could have just kind of went off to the side and tapped it where it's supposed to go, instead of ruining the claw by, you know, using the hook for the claw instead of mounting with string where it's supposed to be. So this is going to break. Yeah, this is real shitty. Real shitty. So it's kind of like, kind of like take things apart over here. So I'm going to cut this crap off of here. So they didn't need to have this that tight. I mean, that is just way too tight. The hell? All right. The loops are tight around the claw. First I thought they were soldered. It's like, yeah, wait a minute here. That's not correct. All right, so these guys here are stuck. There, I got that one out. There you go. All right, let's get rid of some of these needles over here because I don't feel like poking myself in the finger. Being on blood thinners, you kind of like bleed to death. All right, let's pull this bridge off. Pretty heavy screws. Yeah, so that's it. Really nothing major. No writing, no logos, no nothing. Very light. Again, there's some bubbling going on over here around the, yeah, around the opening over here. This opening isn't even right. It's like it's not even, they didn't even use a template. They just got a rant and that's it. Huh. All right, changed a bit, pull some pickups. Nice long screws for real small pickup rings. Come on, sit in there. A lot of these are on angles. That's why it's skipping. I'm holding the drill straight, but these screws are on angles to get them out. They're not plunged into wood straight. See, now I'm holding it at the right angle and it's not skipping. There we go. Alright, let's see what the hell we got here. Alright, it just says 52 on it. Really doesn't look very special to me at all. And this one says 50 on it. And here's your neck. Let me get rid of these strings. One of the things I want to do is I want to remove this screw here. I got to change my bit out again. Little rubber gasket behind there instead of the cloth. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do with this is I wanted to see something. And, you know, you guys might be a little bit mad at me for doing this, but I kind of want to see if there's going to be an issue with this. So I'm going to put this on the ground right now. And I'm going to stand on it. That's what I thought. You see what happens to Chinese guitars? They just break so easily. Yep. I'm going to talk about some dry wood. Anybody need a truss rod? So this is kind of what I think about this guitar. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh my God. Well, this is a Chinese piece of crap. I mean, I wouldn't even save these screws, because if you try to drive these screws in without drilling the proper size hole for the screws, say you drill too small of a hole, you'll twist the heads right off of these, number one. Even the strap locks, the screws for them, you're going to have an issue with those as far as problems where, well, problem's going to be where the head twists off if you don't have the right size drill for the screw itself. I mean, nothing of this guitar is really anything to save. Well, maybe I found some parts that I could save. That's basically it. The pickup rings, they're scratched, they're pitted. They got like right over, I don't know if you can see that or not, but they got some indentations inside of the metal, and they are metal. These pickups are cheap, garbage pickups. And I'm looking at the bobbin right now. This bobbin here is this way. This bobbin here is that way. Literally, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the bobbin is not square. The bobbin is, this side here is more going towards the right, and this bottom one is more going towards the left. And you can kind of see it with the lining up of the screws. This one here is more square with each other, so as far as the bottoms go. But this one here, This bridge shit, nothing on here is worth anything to be. So can I pop one of these out? Oh, I broke it. Yeah, so this is not quality at all. A lot of the fake Gibson guitars that I ended up picking up, a lot of them I ended up going through and looking things over. The manufacturers of the ones that I had one of them that was crap as far as the way it was built and everything else. And that was the Snakebite. And or Snake Pit or Pit Snake, whatever the hell it's called. Whatever the one that had this on it. That guitar broke on me. It fell apart. And yeah, so, but as far as the other ones, I don't know what manufacturers they came from as far as being in China goes, but they've lasted. I mean, I still have like 4 of them, the Les Paul styles, and one of them that I have up on eBay right now was basically my go-to guitar that I would practice with when I was practicing on a regular basis, somewhat of a regular basis, and that seemed to, it's been holding up just fine, stays in tune. If I change the tuning, it stays where I put it. The neck isn't like all over the place every time when I change the tension on it from, tuning it up or changing the tuning on it. Wow. Look at how thick this shit is. I just noticed how thick the finish is on this thing. It's like very thick. But anyways, I'm getting off subject. I really haven't had any issues with the ones that I've gotten, exception of the one Les Paul that was supposed to be the Snake Pit, I think it was called, or Snake Bite, something. I can't remember what the fuck it was called. But that one was the only bad one out of all the ones I picked up. I even gave a few of those Gibsons away, and the people who have them are still using them. So it's like, okay, this, as far as quality goes, if I were to strip this guitar down to fix any of the issues that are in the finish that's on here, okay, especially like around the neck pocket over here, just this clear coat, if I would try to fix that, I would go through that clear into the finish itself, the paint itself. I'm not going to sit here and get a bunch of little dots, put them on here, and make sure that they're all in a row with each other and straight and everything else, and then spray this thing black again and then pick off each one of the, that's, if I was doing this for somebody else, that'd be one thing, but I already have another one of these. So anybody want to play baseball?